Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 615. The title of today's lesson is the difference between church, cathedral, chapel, and basilica. Okay, so anyone screenshot, do it right now. Let's get right to it. All right, this is a request video, and let's get started. So a church is a building for Christians to go to pray, worship, take part in ceremonies like masses, baptisms, confirmations, etc. And this term is used for many sects of Christianity. Remember, Christianity has many different sects. Everybody always thinks of Catholics, but you have Catholics, Protestants, Baptists, Lutherans, Mormons, born-again Christians, and there's even more than that. And a church could be for any one of them. Any one of them could have that as a house of worship. And they are usually attended regularly. They do usually have a regular priest at one or a pastor at one if it's one of the other sects as well. All right, let's continue. Now, a cathedral is the most important church in an area that a bishop controls and will usually have a special chair for him to sit in. All right, this is the strictest definition of a cathedral. So therefore, all cathedrals are churches, but not all churches are cathedrals. Okay, so the main factor is that, a bishop is in charge of this particular one in this area. A second general meaning can be any large and important church. It's one thing about cathedrals, they're usually huge. They tend to be really, really large. They're almost like the size of like 4 or 5 churches in one. If you ever have gone to Europe, especially places like, Italy, Spain, some in France, these churches are magnificent. They are very, very big. Okay, and they also, just like this part says, they tend to be large enough to have what we call cathedral ceilings. So, like when you look up, and it's almost like the ceiling is like 5 stories high. This is what we usually refer to as a cathedral. All right, let's continue. Now, a chapel tends to be small, really small. Sometimes even just the size of a room. It has no set or permanent priest or pastor or congregation, like people that go to it on a regular basis. Often chapels are located in other areas that may not be religious at all, such as hospitals, army barracks, prisons, schools, airports, etc. So it's just a place that mostly you could pray. Where I went to high school, they did actually have a small one, but I think I only remember a ceremony in there like a handful of times in all the years that I was there. It could not possibly hold the whole school. It could only hold maybe one small class, and it would have to be organized. But most of the time, it could be just a place for somebody to go pray if they wanted to go pray. All right, let's continue. Worship privacy. All right, now a basilica has 2 kinds, which are major and minor. The basilica majors are the 4 personal churches of the Pope, so they're directly connected to the Pope, such as the Archbasilica of St. John, Lantern, St. Peter's Basilica, the Basilica of St. Paul, and the Basilica of the Santa Maria Maggiore. That means of Saint Mary. In Italian, of course. Minor basilicas can be spread throughout the world, but this can only be awarded by the Pope. So all basilicas somehow are connected to the Pope or maybe a past Pope that gave them that distinction. So therefore, again, all basilicas are also churches, but not all churches are basilicas. All cathedrals are churches, but not all churches are basilicas. And a chapel is really like kind of almost like a makeshift church. It's not a full, complete church, but it is like a room or a place that could be used as a church, and usually just for specific reasons and for specific people, that need to pray in these areas. All right, and we got 4 examples to show just how it's used. All right, here's the first one. She attends Mass at her local church. This is the most common. Number 2, St. Patrick's Cathedral is located in the heart of Manhattan in New York City. So in New York City, this is one of the main ones. It must be where, Pope is in charge of. Number 3, that hospital has a chapel located on the first floor for people to pray. Yeah, a lot of hospitals may have them, especially if they are a Catholic hospital. But still, you could get a lot of people in a hospital that might be in critical condition, and some people might want to go there to pray, to hope that the person survives an operation or whatever illness they got. All right, and number 4, many tourists come to visit St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. Yeah, that's one of the major ones that people go to when they come to, Italy and then Rome and Vatican City. That's one of the main ones that they go visit. Okay, anyway, hope you got it. I hope it's clear. I hope it was informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.